Wow, Senator, that was, if I had any sense right now, I'd just say, I'm Bill Haslem, I approve that message, y'all have a good night. But I won't let y'all be quite that easy. It is really, really good to be here. I pulled up in the driveway and it brought back a flood of memories to be back here. First of all, it's always good to be back home. I love Nashville, I love being governor, but there's something wonderful about East Tennessee, and you come in and the center's right, you look out, you feel like you're in the Old West, but you look out and see the mountains, you know that you're home. So that felt great. And number two, to be in this particular location, Carlock Myers and his family were and still are incredibly nice to me. When I first started running, Carlock was great help to me, and I will never forget him. I told his family that it's kind of bittersweet for me to walk in here tonight and to be back here, but to miss Carlock. It's fun for me to be here. Some of y'all know this. Our family business actually started here in Campbell County. My dad went to work for the Claibornes in La Follette, learned the gasoline business, and we think of this, La Follette in Campbell County, as kind of being home to our company, which now is spread all over the country, but we firmly believe that it started because of the help of some really good people right here. And finally, it's good to be here because during the campaign, I already knew a lot of people here, but I met so many more, so when I walked through the crowd, it just reminded me of how many friends that we have here. And Christy and I are very, very grateful. Christy is sorry she can't be here. She is speaking for me somewhere in Nashville tonight. They got the first pick, and you all got second pick, so they got Christy, and you all got me. But she said to send you her very best. Let me answer. Several of y'all asked me, like, well, how do you like your job? And the answer is, we both love it. Somewhere there's a better job than being governor of Tennessee, but I have no idea what it would be. I absolutely love it, and the chance to do this is a huge honor. It has taken some getting used to. I'm just now getting to where when I walk into a restaurant and people say, look, there's the governor, that I don't turn around and look to see where he is. Even here tonight, it's kind of funny because a lot more of you call me and say, hey, Mayor, then say, hey, Governor, and that's fine with me. But it has taken some getting used to being governor because people treat you like a big deal. They stand up when you walk in here and they laugh at your jokes. And when you show up, when you go somewhere a lot, you know, the TV cameras, everything shows up, and it's taken some getting used to. But every now and then you're reminded that you're not nearly the big deal that you might think you might be. This is about 4 or 5 months ago when I was in Nashville at something. This little boy is walking up toward me and he has a pen and a piece of paper. He gets about as far as his front table is, and he's walking right toward me. And so I think I'll be kind of a nice politician. I'll get down on the knee and sign his paper for him. And I get down on my knee and he walks right up to me, and I reach out for the pen his pen and paper, and he walks right by me to get Darrell Waltrip's autograph. So I said, all right, that was kind of embarrassing. You're kneeling down there and reaching out, and he's going past, and Darrell Waltrip's behind me and sees what happened. It's just he's laughing as hard as he can. So I thought, okay, I'm never ever doing that again. I'm not reaching until somebody like gives me a pen and makes my hand sign it or something. So about a month after that, we'd gone to the Grand Ole Opry. My daughter was in town, and we're sitting kind of backstage off to the side as my wife and daughter and I. And now this woman walks up, and again, she's walking toward me, and she's again about as far as the front table. And she's walking, and I'm sitting down, she's starting to get lower, and I'm thinking, well, she is looking right at me, she is bending over, she is coming right toward me, she has a pen and a piece of paper, and I'm thinking, all right, well, nobody, I'm down low, it's got to be me. And so I kind of reach out to get the pen and the paper, and this is a true story. Little Jimmy Dickens, who truly is like 4'6", was standing behind me, and she was going to get his autograph. So I've just totally sworn that off and won't do that anymore at all. Let me tell you, I'm so glad to have Representative Weaver and Reagan and Dennis and Senator Yeager here. Here's why that's such a big deal. For the first time really since Reconstruction, so back in the 1860s, we have a Republican Senate, and a Republican House, and a Republican government. I think, well, okay, I might also know, Trey, are you the first Republican Secretary of State ever? There's only been one. In the history of the world, there's only been one Republican Secretary of State from Tennessee, and that's Trey. And his office is right in the building with mine, and we work together a lot. It's a privilege to work with him. He serves in a lot of incredible roles for the state. But you might say, well, okay, so you have all those Republican House, Senate, governor. What difference does that make? It makes all the difference in the world. Let me just maybe describe the situation. When we came into office, we were looking at a budget that was going to be about $31 billion. You go, wow, that's a whole lot of money. And it really is. $31 billion is a lot of money in anybody's budget. Our problem was the year before, the budget had been $32 billion. We had $1 billion less to work with. A lot of the federal funds the state had been getting were gone. And so we literally had to cut the budget by $1 billion. None of the folks that I talked about blinked. When we talked about here's what we're going to have to do, none of them said, well, maybe we could raise taxes, or maybe we could figure out some way to get out of this. But they made the hard decisions. And so because of that, we have a budget that is smaller than it was before, and we cut taxes really for the first time in a long time. Before, when you died in Tennessee, you had to pay a tax to die. And we didn't think that made a lot of sense, so we took that off the books. We cut the grocery tax, the sales tax you pay on groceries, and we cut last year part of the whole income tax that aimed at particularly senior citizens who are on more fixed income. So you had Republicans who said, we have less money, but they didn't whine about it or complain. They just said, we'll figure out how to adjust the budget. And oh, by the way, our second year, we'll cut more taxes than have been cut in a long time in Tennessee, because they understood that. But they also understood this, that government is about this. Our job, by the way, as Republicans, we don't not believe in government. We believe in government. If you don't believe in government, you believe in anarchy, and we don't believe in that. We just believe that when people give you $1, they should get at least $1 worth of service in return. We understand this, just like people have a decision about where they live and where they build their business, and we think they should do both those in Tennessee. But to do that, we have to provide the climate and the environment for that to happen. And so we want to have a government that serves folks that way. So this year we passed a landmark legislation. In government, you have a practice called civil service. In terms of, that determines who you hire and who gets promoted, and in the case of layoff, who gets laid off. Well, before in government, in most governments, it's always been you made all those decisions based on who's been there the longest. Okay, so merit didn't come into play. So if it came down to Joe Smith and me, and they were going to decide to hire one of us or promote one of us, it wasn't a question of which one of us did the better job, it's which one of us had been reading the longest. Okay? I just never really felt like that was the right way to serve folks the best. So we put in a new system that's based on merit, just like you do in your businesses. Because we think when people pay $1, they should get $1 worth of service back. And we're looking at everything from how much we rent office space for the state to how long it takes you to get a driver's license. All the things that you look to us for service, we're focused on. The second thing we focused on is what Dennis and Campbell talked about, bringing jobs to Tennessee. When we came in, Tennessee's unemployment was above the national average. Now for the first time in over 4 years, we're below the national average. Tennessee's personal income rate is going up faster than any of the other states in the Southeast. And you might say, well, wow, what's going on? Well, there's a lot of things going on, but one of those is we're committed to making this the kind of state where people invest capital. Here's what we know as Republicans. Government doesn't create jobs. People always say, we want the government to go create jobs. All government usually does is mess things up for people who do create jobs. So what we want to do is create a low-tax, low-regulation environment where people want to invest their capital. I was with a business yesterday. They're looking at putting 950 new jobs somewhere. And it's down to us and one other state. And so, as you would want me to, I spent my day trying to convince them they should put that in Tennessee. In the end, they were asking us about a lot of things, but they said this, hey, we're going to invest about $80 to $90 million. And our responsibility to our owners is to make sure we put that in a place where it can get its best return. And what you hear from Terry Lynn and John and Dennis and Ken is this. They understand that's the kind of state we have to create. So because of that, I think things are heading in the right direction. We still have a long way to go. Unemployment is still higher than we'd like it to be, but it is moving in the right direction in Tennessee. But one thing that concerns me about selling Tennessee is this. When I go out to sell Tennessee, is folks really want to know, do you have the right workforce for us? Do you have the right people who can staff our jobs? And we have to convince them that we can. Volkswagen has invested millions of dollars down in Chattanooga. And they're going to decide to put another line, another product. They're going to build it somewhere. And we're arguing it should be here in Tennessee and not in Mexico or somewhere else. But what they want to know is, will you have the workforce we need? And it concerns them, they said, that they have to, for every 100 people they interview, there's only 8 that they feel they're qualified to hire. Well, we have to change that. And we're doing it. We're making dramatic steps in K through 12 education in Tennessee and higher education as well to make sure that workforce is prepared. Because in the end, that's our job, is to make certain Tennessee's that place. And the other thing that businesses want, families, everything want, is a safer Tennessee. I'm really, really proud of our state. Like I said, I wouldn't trade jobs with being governor of any other state anywhere, period. But we have some issues. We're 4th in crime per capita. That's kind of scary, you know, it just feels wrong for Tennessee to be 4th per capita. And we're high in places like domestic violence. And so the legislature went to work this year and said, in the past, you could actually be convicted of domestic violence in Tennessee twice and never ever serve a day of jail time. Well, they changed that. And so they're making certain that people understand if you abuse someone in your home, you're going to go to jail. We have an issue with prescription drugs in Tennessee. Right now, if you're hospitalized for a drug overdose in Tennessee, it's just as likely to be from a prescription drug as from a street drug like cocaine or heroin. And so we ratcheted up the penalties for prescription drug abuse, and we've also made it harder for people to doctor shop, to go get one prescription from a doctor and another prescription from another doctor, because unfortunately it's a huge issue. In Tennessee, we use more prescription drugs per person than any other state except West Virginia. Some of those are used for legitimate reasons, but way too many of those aren't. I don't have to tell anybody in all of East Tennessee particularly the issue that we face with methamphetamine. And babies who are being born addicted to meth in East Tennessee. So again, we've ratcheted up the penalties for that. We understand for this to be the place where you want to live and raise your family and build your business, we have to make it a safe place. And the folks that you've elected are committed to doing it. At the end of the day, here's what we think our job is about. It's our job to make Tennessee be the kind of place that you choose and you believe in. You know, there's several of the candidates that got up and talked about kind of the generational issues, kind of the generation that's growing up now that's going to inherit all the debt that we've talked about. But there's really another issue. Young people today, for the first time, don't believe in forever in America, don't believe their lives will be better than their parents' lives. Forever, Americans have grown up with that thought that my life will be better than my parents' life, that economic circumstances will be better. But the young people today don't feel that way. And it's interesting who they blame. They don't blame big business. They don't blame teachers. They don't blame a lot of the other things. You know who they blame? They blame politicians. They blame folks who aren't working to solve problems. I think what each one of those folks that I pointed out tonight are committed to doing is to actually solve problems. And so that the generation that doesn't combine this will believe my life can be as good as my parents' lives were, and maybe even better. Our commitment to you is to do that, to make Tennessee the kind of place that you're proud to live in, to make Tennessee the kind of place that people want to invest capital. I'm honored to do this job. I get to do a lot of incredible things. One of those, I'm just reminded looking out here tonight, when there's vacancies in judgeships and in district attorneys, the governor gets to appoint or replace them. And today I had the honor of appointing for this district, which is, I think it's got Campbell, Claiborne, Scott. Make sure I got all the right, Campbell, Claiborne, Fincher, Scott, and Union, which is Judicial District 8. I had the honor of appointing Lori Phillips-Jones, and Lori is here with us tonight. Lori, would you please stand? Lori will be the very first female district attorney ever in this part of the state. We've only had, I think, only a handful of other female district attorneys anywhere, but she's currently the assistant DA in this area, and we're thrilled to have her. But I'll end with, I use that as an example. It doesn't matter who you elect, and so you all being willing to come tonight means that we can help elect people all the way from President Romney to local officials, because it really, really does make a a difference who serves. And on behalf of all of us who run, thank you. We don't take it for granted that you're willing to come tonight and be here, that you work for us, that you put up yard signs and stickers on your cars and all those things. All I can tell you is this. I have the privilege of being in Nashville. Not one day goes by that I don't consider it an incredible honor to be in government. But also have the privilege to watch all these other folks do their jobs. And on behalf of all of them, thank you. It's made a difference that you've elected great people. We'd ask for your help to continue doing that. And again, very, very grateful for the opportunity to serve as your government. Thank you very, very much.